Corran Horn was the son of Jedi Master Najah Halkayan. Raised on Corellia by his adopted parents, the Force-sensitive Corran became a member of the Corellian Security Force. A skilled pilot and highly effective warrior, Corran eventually became a member of Rogue Squadron, the most skilled rebel pilot force in the galaxy. His exploits as a pilot and latent Force sensitivity eventually brought Horn to the attention of Luke Skywalker, a powerful Jedi Master. After being approached by Skywalker with an offer for Jedi training, Horn accepted and was taken to the Yavin 4 Temple. Over the years, Corran Horn became one of the Jedi Order's greatest lightsaber duelists, and even assisted in the development of the Three Rings of Defense alongside the Battlemaster Kam Solusar. When the extragalactic species, the Yuuzhan Vong, attacked the galaxy, Corran Horn took up the fight alongside the other masters. During the war, Corran Horn freed the planet Ithor and even defeated the Vong general Shadow Shay in single combat. After the war ended, Corran Horn became a member of the Jedi Council and held the belief that the Jedi's first duty was to serve the Galactic Alliance. Horn continued to serve the Jedi Order during the events of Darth Caedus' uprising and Abelos campaign, and through it all, Horn lived to fight another day. While Corran Horn and his supporters believed the Jedi should serve the Alliance, another Jedi Master believed the Jedi should serve only their own conscience. This Jedi Master was Kyp Durron. Born on the planet Dyer, Kyp wanted nothing more than to travel the universe seeking adventure. After his Force abilities manifested, Kyp was brought to the Yavin 4 Temple. A fast learner and incredibly powerful, Kyp Durron quickly rose to prominence among his peers and was considered to be Luke Skywalker's greatest student. During Exar Kun's spiritual resurrection, Kyp Durron was the one the Sith spirit attempted to control in an effort to destroy the Academy. Exar Kun was defeated, and Kyp gained control of himself once again. After attaining the level of Jedi Knight, Kyp and his fellow Jedi quelled the rampage of a Leviathan on the mining world of Korbos, eventually managing to kill the Darkside Beast. During the Yuuzhan Vong War, Kyp Durron was one of the Jedi Order's head field agents, winning many battles against the invaders, and even garnering the attention of Supreme Overlord Shimra and the Dark Lady of the Sith Lumaya for his highly advanced skills in battle. Following the war, Kyp was elected to the Jedi Council. While he held the belief that the Jedi should follow their own way, Kyp Durron continued to serve the Order well, facing any trial that came his way. Hey guys, EvanNova95 here. Welcome to the first episode of Season 3 of Versus series. Now, I have always been an avid fan of the new Jedi Order, and this battle is one that I've wanted to do for a long time. Since I started doing Versus videos, I wanted to do this battle. Both these Jedi Masters have been featured in some of my favorite post-Return of the Jedi era stories, and they've been bumping heads with each other for well over a decade due to their different philosophies. With that said, let's kick off Versus Series Season 3 with Corran Horn versus Kyp Durron. Let's start off by comparing their physical attributes. Corran Horn is a human Corellian male of 62 years of age. As a dedicated martial artist and former pilot, Horn sported a muscular build, and despite his relatively old age, remained in excellent physical condition. His agility, while not beyond the standard for trained Jedi, was considerable, and he had little difficulty keeping pace with much larger and younger combatants, as he demonstrated against Shadow Shay. He may not be in his physical prime, but he's far from incapable. Kyp Durron is a 52-year-old human male. Like Corran Horn, Kyp remained in excellent physical condition, even despite his old age, and has shown no signs of major physical fatigue. His tolerance for physical injury was also considerable. Likewise, his speed and reflexes were incredibly well honed. When comparing the relative physicality of each combatant, there's really no disparity here. Both Corran and Kyp are of the same species, and they have both demonstrated the same levels of agility and physical hardiness as the other. Kyp is admittedly 10 years younger than Corran, but Corran has proven himself to be able to keep pace with much younger combatants than himself on numerous occasions. Neither will be granted the edge for physical ability, as they are equal in how they match up against each other. Now we compare them as martial artists and lightsaber duelists. Corran Horn was one of the most skilled swordsmen of his day, and was one of the head lightsaber instructors at the Jedi Temple for many years. Corran Horn's lightsaber technique was based off the 3 rings of defense, the first and most basic form of lightsaber combat used in the Jedi Order, Horn being one of the style's developers. In a sense, a more advanced version of Shicho, the 3 rings focuses on the body's 3 major target zones, with the outer ring utilizing broad sweeping blows, the middle ring close-quarter strikes used for blast deflection, and the inner ring being quick parries and tight defensive moves. While the 3 rings were the simplest form of lightsaber dueling, in the hands of a master such as Corran Horn, it became a more than effective tool. His knowledge of the target zones allowed him to effectively counter various forms of attack, and his precision was blinding. Due to his frequent use of acrobatics and chaining in unarmed combat into his lightsaber sequences, it's more than likely that Corran was also a master of Ataru, the 4th form of lightsaber combat. A fast-paced and aggressive fighting style, Ataru focuses on utilizing every part of the body as a weapon. Corran made full use of Ataru's focuses on acrobatics in battle, and his proclivity for chaining in unarmed combat into his lightsaber sequences was likely a holdover from his Corellian security training. His skills with the lightsaber were such that he was able to hold his own against the battlemaster Kam Solusar and defeated the force-resistant Vong General Shade O'Shea in single combat. No mean feat. While not a practitioner of Zhar Kai dual-blade fencing himself, Corran Horn was able to hold off a dual-blade wielding Saba Sabatine during one of the Jedi Council's many sparring sessions, as described in the novel Fury.
Each adopting a traditional formalized lightsaber posture. Saba using a lightsaber in each hand, Corran with his own weapon adjusted to its 2nd setting.
Not as far as I can throw her.
That was Corran, his voice punctuated by zaps as Saba advanced on him, trying to bat his longer blade aside.
This in turn proves that he is capable of defending himself against such methods of attack, speaking towards a very high level of adaptability. Overall, Corran Horn was a true lightsaber duelist through and through, who generally earned his reputation as a great swordmaster. Kyp Durron was a gifted master of the lightsaber and was one of the most highly regarded Jedi Masters of the Order. He was, after all, one of Luke Skywalker's greatest students. Like many Jedi Masters of his time, Kyp was a master of the 3 rings of defense, and was highly skilled at utilizing the 3 target zones attributed to the form. While his main style isn't confirmed in any source, much of the text from the novels, as well as his few comic book appearances, describe Kyp as being a highly aggressive power duelist, with a highly developed skill for blast deflection. This suggests that Kyp was a Form 5 specialist, and was more than likely a practitioner of both the Xi'an and Ajemso branches of the form. Form 5 was a highly aggressive, strength-oriented style, based around following up defensive parries with immediate counters. Kyp Durron fought extremely aggressively, but he wasn't a lumbering brute fueled by rage commonly associated with the style. His application of Form 5 very much mirrored that of Plo Koon or Adi Gallia. He was an offensive power duelist, but he applied his skills in a very controlled and precise manner. Instead of being a hammer that crushed his enemy's skull, he was a blade that pierced his enemy's heart. Corran Horn and Kyp Durron were both among the greatest duelists of their day, with both their respective fighting styles suiting their particular situations to full effect. On the technical level, I would have to consider Corran to be the superior swordsman, though not by an incredibly large margin. The reason for this is while Kyp Durron is an extremely skilled swordsman, his real strength lies in his command of the Force. By contrast, Corran Horn was a renowned lightsaber instructor, who devoted nearly everything to improving his dueling skills, and holds greater academic knowledge of the 3 rings. While Kyp Durron may not invest as much into his lightsaber skills as Corran, he is still extremely talented in his own right, and his application of Form 5 makes him a more than worthy match for most great swordsmen. And while he may not quite be Corran's equal, he is undoubtedly in Corran's league. However, I feel that Corran Horn's greater academic knowledge and refinement makes him the overall superior duelist, if only slightly. Corran Horn gets the edge as a martial artist and lightsaber duelist. Now we compare their Force abilities. Corran Horn's Force abilities are an interesting setup to say the least. Hailing from a long line of Jedi, Corran Horn was extremely attuned to the Force. However, this heritage was a double-edged sword. Like all Jedi of the Heklian line, Corran lacked significant telekinetic abilities, and during his early days at the Academy, had to concentrate incredibly hard just to lift a stone. That isn't to say he was lacking telekinetic skills entirely. He was capable of unleashing telekinetic strikes when given time to concentrate, though in that regard his application of telekinesis was very much akin to Qui-Gon Jinn. His defense against telekinesis was also spotty at best. While he was able to raise shields to protect himself from minor telekinetic strikes, whenever confronted by beings of incredibly top-tier magnitude, he had nothing. To compensate for this, Corran Horn invested heavily into the telepathic and unorthodox applications of the Force, and in doing so, became one of the most skilled in those areas in the Order. His telepathic skills were some of the most advanced of his day, and he was able to mind trick his enemies, implant thoughts into the minds of others, cloak his presence in the Force, and even influence the memories of targets in erasing knowledge of his own existence. During combat, he was able to take himself out of his physical body and enter a state where time seemed to slow, and he was able to increase his own drive to win, essentially a textbook application of the battle mind ability. His telepathic skills were so advanced that Corran was even capable of casting illusions. While not as dangerous or destructive as the ones cast by the ancient Sith, illusions can be used by the Jedi to distract or mislead enemies without physically harming them. In order to better defend himself against energy-based attacks, Corran was adept in Tutaminis, and was capable of blocking projectiles, blaster bolts, and even Force lightning. While some Sith used Tutaminis to channel energy into a burst of Force lightning, Corran used the energy he gathered to bolster his practice of telekinesis, though the effect was only temporary. Corran Horn was one of the most unique Force users of not only his era, but possibly all time. He may have some serious weaknesses as a combative Force user, but he should be applauded for the way he has compensated for his shortcomings. Kyp Durron was one of the most powerful Jedi of his day, and was described as being frightfully powerful by many of his teachers and fellow Council Masters. By far, Kip Durron's most prominently used ability with the Force was his staggering use of telekinesis. He used powerful Force pushes and shoves to batter and throw his enemies. Durron has also demonstrated the capacity for ripping through the Force shields of opposing Force wielders, at one point even catching Luke Skywalker off guard with a powerful Force strike during an exercise. During the fall of Coruscant, Kip used the Force to lift and throw a freighter to destroy an entire battalion of Vong soldiers to clear a path for escape. If you prefer a visual reference in which to imagine Kip's exploits with the Force, then I would say the closest possible example would be the one set forth by Starkiller in the Force Unleashed 2 trailers. His telepathic skills were capable, and he had no difficulty with the Jedi mind trick, though more advanced applications like battle mind and battle meditation typically eluded him. Kip also possessed the rare skill of precognition, occasionally catching glimpses of the future to better aid him in combat. His skills in basic physical augmentation were also highly advanced, and allowed him to perform the superhuman feats attributed to Jedi Masters. Likely gained from his brief time under Exar Kun's influence, Kyp Durron was also highly skilled in Force lightning, able to generate bolts to incapacitate, and if necessary, kill. When comparing these two as Force wielders, they are almost complete opposites in how they apply the Force combatively. While Corran Horn has compensated well for his weaknesses, and does possess a few effective counters to Kip's abilities, there really is no contest here. As it stands, Kyp Durron is exactly the type of Force combatant that Corran Horn is ill-equipped to defend himself against. While Corran's telepathic abilities outstrip Kip's, and his knowledge of Tutaminis counters Kip's lightning, he has no defense against the sheer magnitude of Kyp Durron's telekinetic assaults. Corran may have a greater variety of abilities at his disposal, but Kip's are far more applicable in a combative application. In fact, in the novel Darkness II: The Unseen Queen, after a heated argument, Kip actually threw Corran across a hangar with a telekinetic strike, and that just says it all right there, doesn't it? Corran Horn just can't adequately defend himself against Kyp Durron's sheer magnitude. Kyp Durron gets the edge as a Force wielder. Now we compare the armament and tools used by each combatant. Corran Horn built his lightsaber from spare parts from a shuttle crash on Corcus. His weapon featured a dual-phase function, where the blade was able to extend from the typical 1.3 meters to 3 meters in length. While dual-phase lightsabers provided more options in battle, as detailed in the Jedi Path, their only real benefit was for quick surprise attacks. His weapon utilized 2 crystals for the dual-phase function, his blade being silver when at the standard length and purple when extended. Very little is known about Kyp Durron's lightsaber. It appeared to follow a relatively simple design common among his era. His weapon's only noticeable feature was the purple blade. This one's pretty easy to call. Dual-phase lightsabers may only be useful for surprise attacks, but they still provide more options in battle. Corran Horn gets the edge in armament and tools. And now we've reached the verdict. Both Corran Horn and Kyp Durron are among the greatest Jedi Masters of their era, and both have proven themselves to be highly skilled lightsaber duelists and Force users in their own right. However, the difference comes in when we consider the manner in which both of them apply their skills. Corran Horn, the duelist who uses the Force for defense, and Kyp Durron, the fighter who uses the Force as an elemental power. The verdict of this match actually draws a lot of similarities from Jen Sarai's and Grey Jedi 91's collaborative video Qui-Gon Jinn vs. Plo Koon. Corran Horn is the superior lightsaber duelist, but only due to his greater academic knowledge and refinement, rather than combative ability. Much of his effectiveness with the lightsaber was due to his lackluster defense against telekinesis. He had to make himself the best swordsman he could be, so in case he was confronted by a powerful Force user, he could quickly and effectively overwhelm them. While I know it's possible for one skilled in lightsaber dueling to defeat one skilled in the Force, this factor does not apply here, as both are so evenly matched as swordsmen. What truly decides this battle is their prospective combative mastery of the Force. While Corran Horn does possess a few viable defenses to some of Kyp Durron's abilities, he has no defense against Kyp's combative powers of telekinesis. The battle would begin with them in a vicious lightsaber duel. Due to their comparable skills as swordsmen, they would be evenly matched for a lengthy period of time, with Corran only seizing the advantage after a long and hard-fought battle. But as soon as he gained the upper hand, Kyp would use his powerful Force abilities to fight back, and Corran Horn would be effectively overwhelmed. I declare Jedi Master Kyp Durron the winner. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed. This was a battle that I've wanted to do for a long time, so I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Please leave suggestions for future battles in the comment section below, and as always guys, this is just my opinion. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.
Horn, you can throw anybody any distance. With the Force, anyway.
That's a burn.